To find additional episodes of this program, as well as other content, visit eaglemountain.tv. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Ark. My name is Chris. I'm here with Bobby and Becky Haaby, and we're going to be digging into an amazing message that Bobby gave called The Great Deliverance, and I'm excited about that. How are you guys doing today, though? Before we get into it, how are things going?
Pretty good.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
You guys had to check, though.
We always do that. Do you notice we're like, well, how you doing?
I don't want to speak for both of us. Maybe you're not doing good.
Right.
No, I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, you doing good?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling incredible optimism, but it's not like the fake. You know how you can juice yourself up?
Yep.
Like it's bleak. You have to jump a motorcycle over the Grand Canyon, but you're like, it's going to work.
Yeah.
But then there's like, no. I feel God on this, and things are lining up in a way where I don't have to tell myself, even though I don't believe it. Mm-hmm. I just see all the stuff happening. So I'm feeling super, super optimistic right now. And I'm excited to get into this. This is a message that you released, Bobby, and I feel like it's one of those ones where when you're hearing it and when you're kind of going back through it like we're doing today, there's a lot of new revelation on it. So as we kind of get into that, lay the groundwork for us. We talk about the great deliverance. There's so many different things that could be. So set the stage for us.
Okay, well, this was a word that I got that was super clear. You know how when you get prophetic words from God and you know you need to proclaim this, tell my people, ... It was one of those moments, and I was blown away. And it was before I had thought about the bigger picture of what deliverance looks like. I think sometimes there is a negative connotation for what we think deliverance is. And there's this negative sense of, oh my goodness, that person needs deliverance.
Oh, they need deliverance.
Exactly. Yeah. And so but I felt like the Lord's great joy with this great, and the word great was highlighted. Not like great, like massive, but like great.
Like great, like good.
Yes, deliverance. And I love that. And so he had spoken to us a few years ago about how he was not just delivering us from things, but to things. And so, Becky, I don't have my glasses. Would you read the actual word that I got? I wrote it down word for word.
Yeah, it was a prophetic word that you received. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see there is a great movement of my people coming out of Egypt? They are coming out of slavery, out of shame, and out of performance. See, they are coming out to worship me. They are coming out of a man-centered experience to worship me. They are coming out boldly and with the treasures of Egypt. There is a great deliverance from humanism. There is a great deliverance from darkness, from doctrines of demons, and from doctrines that only glorify man. I alone can save, and I will do it. I am here. I have sent my east wind of revival to part the sea. There is a great divide, just as my word divides soul from spirit. My people shall be sure-footed as they cross over into the promise. I am bringing a great victory that will cause Jesus to be lifted high above all.
Come on.
Do not say it is coming, but say it is here, because I am here.
Wow. That's so good.
Yeah. That is really awesome.
And I just think we need to hear that. I think we need to just settle into, when God stands up for his people. And this was the feeling that I got. God was standing up for his people. And the scriptures that he gave me were two. One was Revelation chapter 15, and that is the Song of Moses. And God prophesies in Exodus that there'll be two songs sung at the end of the age. One is the Song of Moses, and the other is the Song of the Lamb. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, so what's the Song of Moses and what's the Song of the Lamb? And so the Song of Moses was what happened on, after the Red Sea crossing. And that was their deliverance. Paul picks up on it in the New Testament and goes, wow, that was a deliverance from the enemy. And that was a baptism, like Jesus talked about in water. And so, so that's what's going on. And then the Song of the Lamb, I wanted to dive into that too, knowing, okay, God, so what is this deliverance from our enemies that's happening right now? Because it is sure.
And, it at the end of the age, both of those songs are being sung. But one of the things that you also said is that if we are going to be victorious, we have to know our deliverance story. And we have to know the song of divine love and intimacy with the Lamb, Jesus. And it's that all to me just speaks again of they overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. That's like literally what you're saying there. And that's part of that. It is the great deliverance. It is what brings deliverance and hope to this world. It's the salvation message. But it doesn't come with just one voice. It's the song of the bride. It is all of the body, all of the believers knowing who God is intimately, and also knowing what he has done for them, and being fully aware of that. Not in a sense of we always have to okay, here's my badge. Hi, I'm, it's not AA for, Christianity isn't AA. Does that make sense? No offense to, I'm not trying to offend. I'm just trying to say we're not a social club that comes and says, hi, my name is Becky. I'm a Christian, and here's what he delivered me from. Although that's not a bad idea, because that is it, but it is the foundation with which we know God is real. And that is the main question that non-believers are constantly asking. Well, how do you know he's real?
Right.
Well, I know he's real because this is what he did for me.
Right.
And, this world is getting dark, and it's going to get darker. We are the light that says exactly that. So knowing what we have been delivered for, and what we've been delivered from, and what we're being delivered to is also massively important for who we are to be the lights we are supposed to be on this earth.
Man, that's good. That's super. I feel, so as you're saying that, I feel like it's really important. I hope you guys understand the weight of what Becky's talking about is, because what she's talking about is this thing that I think is true universally in every culture, actually. So a lot of times we get kind of pigeonholed a tad into kind of Western culture because, being in America, at least for us, at least I know for me, like it's very easy to kind of only look through that lens. But I think there's something universally true, that is people typically believe they're going to miss their purpose, or they believe that they don't have a purpose, and that bothers them because they feel like they're supposed to, because they do. Okay. But the world tells them everything's an accident, so you don't have a purpose. So one of the things that just leaped out on this is at the end when you say, do not say it is coming, but say it is here because I am here. Because everybody has to go through some kind of deliverance before they enter the promised land. Some people are fortunate enough that it doesn't look so traumatic. But there's still a deliverance that's required. 100% of the time. For others, the deliverance itself becomes the platform on which God uses them. But it's still required. So in this entire prophetic word, there's about 20 things that jump out. But can you speak to this part about do not say it is coming, but say it is here because I am here, and how that relates to the truth that is just sewn into our DNA from the Lord, that he made us for a reason, and that's what we need to be delivered to.
Yeah. I think it's easy, and in the prophetic community, we've got many friends that are prophesying words of breakthrough, and those are all powerful. And so from heaven's perspective, when we get a word about breakthrough, that breakthrough has already happened. It's not just going to happen. Now they're prophesying it from the unseen realm into the seen realm. So we are watching things become tangible. But from heaven's perspective, we're not living for breakthrough, right? We're living from breakthrough.
Right.
So that's how heaven sees it. And so we're learning to catch up to that. So when God's saying, hey, I'm not just saying it's coming. Don't say it's coming. Say it is here.
Right.
It's the invitation to join that heaven perspective.
Yeah.
And go, hey, you're not living from breakthrough. You're living for breakthrough. And then that way, your whole mindset shifts.
Right.
While you're watching for something to be made manifest, while you're letting your faith bring it into the now, it's a totally different shift. One is you're waiting, you're sort of folding your hands, waiting on God. And the other one is you're in full partnership with him.
Yep. Yes. And I think, so can you, I think, and it ties into what you were saying too, Becky. So I'd love to hear from both of you guys. So how do you address the truth and reality that most people are going to say, I hear what you're saying, Bobby, but it do not feel like that right now. I don't feel like I'm experiencing the breakthrough. So how do we say, honestly, it is here because God is here, while our day-to-day reality is telling us it's not? Or maybe it's that the devil, that the enemy is whispering into our ear the first heaven truth of what's happening and telling us that's the reality. Can you kind of help bridge that gap from what people experience a lot of the time every day?
Totally. It's become such a norm that what we call reality for us is mostly that first heaven, like what we're experiencing every day. And less to the Christian, the reality is heaven. And so I want to use the word, I'm going to try to read this, but I want to use the word to clarify your question and the answer to your question. It says this,
Do you want me to
right
read it?
here. They are coming out of slavery, out of shame, and out of performance. See, they are coming out to worship me. So let me start right there by saying, if you're coming out of slavery, out of shame and performance right now, then part of that mindset is as a slave, and let's just talk about the orphan spirit for a second. That slavery mentality is, I've got to do it all on my own. There is no God that's breaking in for me. The neat thing about the deliverance is God was like, no, I'm here for you, and we're leaving tomorrow. Like
Right,
it was a
right.
break-in, breakthrough,
Right.
and that mentality of God is here for me is a shift for these guys, and it was going to be a major part of their deliverance. I don't believe God's with me right now. So that's going to determine what you call reality. If you don't know the God of break-in for you, then you just think, I'm on my own. And so any environment, I don't care whether it's your home, your office, your church, whatever it is, that doesn't believe that God is supernaturally involved in your assignment, they don't expect a God of breakthrough. And so that's where they need to be delivered from slavery. And that slave mentality is, nope, God's not going to break in for me. The second thing is out of shame. And some people are coming out of the house of the past, and the things that they have done, the things that they've walked through, bad decisions that they've made, and more than just, wow, I learned from that and I'm shifting, the enemy tries to keep them in a spirit of shame, literally. And that will keep you in the prison house of the past. You will stay in slavery if you can't get through the shame of your past. God is making something greater. And so the mistakes that you've made have taught you grace. They've taught you what not to do, all of those things. But you've got to come out of shame if you're going to move forward. And the last thing he said was performance. And that will keep you in this, the slave house, so to speak. And so I'm thinking for all three of those things, to say, listen, if you're thinking, Lord, I'll believe it when I see it, that means you've still got the sands of Egypt in your pockets. It's one thing to bring you out of Egypt. It's another thing to get the Egypt out of us. Yeah. So we've got to understand, wait a minute, I have come out of this place. Now, we know the story. Those leaders, Joshua and Moses, brought them out of Egypt. But to get the Egypt out of them took 40 years.
Right.
So that's sort of what I'm talking about, is if you're still hanging out living for breakthrough, even though technically you know you've come out, that mindset shift needs to happen pronto.
I feel like what you're saying is the key, because it's super easy. I've been doing this my whole life. A lot of us, as we heard the Sunday school story about the Israelites doing some dumb thing, and you're like, I can't believe, how could they doubt? Pillar of fire, right? Mm-hmm. But how many times is that exactly what we do?
Yeah.
And what I think I hear you saying is if we're still waiting for God to show up after the breakthrough, that's actually what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like we're like, he's there, he's done it, he's already dealt with everything.
Yeah.
And we're like, where are you?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already out of Egypt.
Right.
What do you mean?
I mean, can you imagine that? Like literally being out of Egypt, but we all know what we call reality is, gosh, I am out of Egypt. I mean, I don't know. Let's talk about a guy who's been held captive in another region. Maybe he got caught preaching the gospel in Iraq and just got let go back to the United States. Even though he's going to come home and be technically free as soon as he gets on that plane, he's going to have some things to get through, right? That pastor that was over there that is now back on U.S. soil, it's going to take him a while to get through some things.
Yeah.
And that's this great deliverance that I'm talking about.
Yes.
You are coming out of that, and now it's time to literally, as a prophetic activation, like pull out your pockets and take the sands of Egypt out of your pockets and make sure that you're thinking on a different level, because it would be tragic to technically be out of Egypt, but spiritually remain.
Wow.
So that's also then, you got me thinking on a couple of things. First thing is process with God is on his timing.
Yeah.
And so for some, it might be short. For others, it might be longer. It's whatever it's going to take. And the Lord knows what that is. But in all of our lives, God has a promised land, which you're talking about stepping into the promise. And that promise is, so there's in order to go into that, there's a responsibility we have to fulfill our purpose and role within removing the sands out of our pockets.
Yeah.
We have a role.
We have a role. We are accountable and responsible to remove that sand. But we're also, the sand of Egypt is no longer physical. It's mental.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
Totally.
And that's where the mindset that you just all keep saying, you both keep saying, like, this thing about this mindset, it's all mental. It's emotional and it's mental. And if there's the mindset of Egypt still within us, then it's part of the sand going out is getting us into a position of having the mindset of heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only having it, but having it fill us so much so that we no longer are still, once in the promised land, looking for a promised land. Because the mindset of a slave is to constantly stay in a state of one day breakthrough, one day promise, one day a savior will come. My prince will come and rescue me. And he's saying, that's even a part of the mindset I want you to get rid of.
Yeah.
because that mindset is no longer useful for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm here. I've already come. I've already, you're crossing into a promise. You've got to have this no longer the mindset of one day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all,
That
that's
is-
like profound.
That's
That is
really
so
profound
good.
because the trick about it, why it's so hard to recognize that, is it sounds pretty good when you say one day. Because
Yeah.
it sounds like you're believing.
Yeah.
I'm believing God for this. I'm believing God for this. Really, what that often means is you're not.
Yeah.
You're kind of hoping, hedging,
Yeah.
trying to sound good. But if he's already done it and you're saying I'm believing for that, you're not. That's actually not faith.
Yeah.
You're like, prove it. Prove it, Lord. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, and you're defining what the promised land looks like based off of
Yes.
your
You're
expectation
defining it.
versus what God's design for promised land looks
Yes.
like for you.
And it's kind of like this whole thing like, God, this sand is super itchy. I'm
Yeah.
sick of this sand.
Yeah.
Well, empty it out of your pockets. I'm just saying it's very itchy. Well, empty it out of your pockets. I'm just saying the sand is very itchy and it makes it difficult to worship you.
Yeah.
Well, then dump it out. All I'm trying to say is this sand is very irritating. And it's this thing where God's like,
Yeah.
I already dealt it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Right,
Oh,
right.
It's the nail in the head thing.
Yeah,
Video
Yes.
that you played.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about that.
It's like,
yeah. There's this video online.
Don't tell me about it. I just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the woman has a nail in her head and she's like talking to her spouse and he's like, you've got a nail. And she's like, just listen. I just want you to listen. And she's like not wanting to have pointed out what the issue is. And it's a nail in her head. It's hilarious. You can go and watch it online.
Yes. YouTube. Search nail in the head. It's hilarious, but it's super true. So think about the Jews right now, non-believing Jews, Israel top of mind. Gosh, they don't know that 2,000 years ago Jesus came.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just let that set in for
Yeah.
a little bit. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like we're begging for things that have already happened.
Yeah.
And that's how you know the sands of Egypt are still in our pockets.
Yeah.
Because that's what it manifests, right? Those guys came out and all of a sudden there's no one else to blame.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're not
There's no one
there's no Pharaoh, there's no taskmasters whipping them, making bricks and all that they did for 400 plus years.
Yeah.
When you get brought out, there's no part of the glory of being brought out is that you're delivered. Part of the process of being brought out is there's no one left
Yeah.
to blame. And
So what they do, they blame Moses,
yes.
the guy
Right.
that brought him out.
So instead of like, this is
Yeah.
your moment to go, how do I get the sands of Egypt out of my pocket?
yeah. Right.
Then let's deflect and talk against leadership and the people that are challenging me to think a different way.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's like how you know the sands of Egypt are still in your pockets. Number one, it's going to happen one day. We're not fully out yet. Number two, I'm seeing more of the things that are not happening than the things that are happening. Number three is I've got to deflect that this has anything to do with me and my process. That's how you know you're still in shame and performance and slavery. This has got to be someone else's issue.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so that's how you know. And you just have to go, God, oh, Lord. And this is the great deliverance that we're all talking about. There is a mindset shift that's taking place right now where the Lord says, I am bringing you out. And I'm bringing you out because I've brought you out. So I'm bringing you out mentally and emotionally and all of those things. And I'm bringing you out spiritually. I'm bringing you out to understand this is what's already happened because of the blood of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And instead of asking and begging for things that we already have, what's it going to result in? Excuse me. It's going to result in thankfulness. Because you're not just thanking God for something that's about to happen.
Right.
You're thanking him for something that's already happened.
Wow.
Totally different.
Wow. I love that too, because I feel like it's easy to kind of, throw stones at the Israelites because we get to read this story. But just, sometimes when we're doing that, we need to think, well, what if somebody was going to be reading our story 2,000 years from now or 4,000 years from now, or whatever? Man, let's make sure that they're not giggling just as much as we do, because these mistakes are easy to make when we have the wrong mindset, like you're talking about, Becky. So I feel like this is super important for what's happening in the earth right now, because we're moving into this place and already have moved into this place where we have to begin to fulfill the role that we were made for. That's why we were made. And we are not going to be able to do that if we're stuck worried about these things or unable to step into the deliverance that we have. So I think it's super important. Yeah.
Can I add one more thing before we end?
Make it
Here's
happen.
a scripture, Exodus 14:15. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the sons of Israel to go forward."
Right.
So it's just like when God says, "Hey, you stop asking for something that's already yours.
Yeah.
Why are you crying
Go.
out to me? Go forward."
Yeah.
That's the word for now.
That's right. Go forward. I don't believe there's a better time to hear that than right now. So with that in mind, go forward.
Come on.
And thank you for bringing this message and digging into it today, both you guys. It was super good. Take a minute and share this out on your social platforms. Now, I don't know how you're watching this or listening to this, but just so you know, Inside the Ark is available inside the Apple podcast platform, the Spotify platform. It's also available inside the Eagle Mountain TV platform. So if you go to eaglemountain.global and click on the TV button, you can find this program, all the episodes, plus all kinds of other incredible programming there. We have a lot of amazing content that we feel the Lord has given us that's important to get out to the world. We need your help to do that. We need your help sharing it, and also your financial support. So there's also a button on that website, the Give button. If you could click that and help support this program, that helps us actually produce these programs and other things like this to help get these messages that we're hearing from the Lord out to the world. So thank you for that. Thank you for pouring in. We'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think, and we will see you on the next episode. See you later.